Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
All right, I'm really excited about today. I want to thank, as always, Lisa Paley for helping us during our Miami Book Fair presentations. We do it for about a month before the book fair. When the book fair list came out, this was the book that I was really excited about. I want to thank Lisa Paley and the Miami Book Fair for bringing us together today with Harold Hughes. Harold's book is a kid's book about blockchain. And I got to tell you, the introduction of the book says it all. It's addressed to the parents of children. It's a children's book, but the introduction of the book is addressed to parents. And we're going to bring Harold on in just a second. And we're going to talk about why parents should read this book, not only to their kids, but for themselves. This really basically helps you understand all this stuff you've heard about blockchain technology. Before we get started, I want to thank, we've been on now for 14 years. I want to thank our sponsors for the last 12 plus, Warren Henry Automotive. Thank you so much to Larry and the rest of the team for making me a brand ambassador. I was there this weekend to get my fix of the Warren Henry Advantage. I got my car serviced with Maytel Stark. I love them all. They treated me like gold. It was wonderful. I was in and out of there real quickly, and they gave me a loaner so I could go visit my mom in the middle. Make sure to check out Warren Henry and our family up there at 151st and Biscayne, down in the Keys. South Dade, they've got their award-winning luxury Land Rover, Range Rover store. And, of course, in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Now, let's get to the portion of the show where we're going to talk about blockchain technology for kids. Mr. Mendoza, do your magic, please. There he is. Harold, how are you, Harold?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Oh, hey, great to see you too, Harold. Now,
Thank you.
I know you're coming to Miami in the next couple of days for a conference that's going to help with getting the Caribbean hooked in to do remote work here in the United States and around the world. But our topic today is blockchain.
Yep.
First of all, thank you for being a leader and helping me understand blockchain better. We're going to do a kid's book about blockchain. I'm actually going to make it like we're doing a reading because it's really important.
Yeah.
I think I've read it. It took all of 15 minutes.
Yep.
You know, I read Who Moved the Cheese. That took 20, you know.
I love Who Moved the Cheese. I read that every year. I read this one every couple of weeks to my kid.
This is tremendous. I think every parent should get this book, read it to their kids, put it on their shelf, write the date that they bought it, and then look back in 20 years and crack up. So let's start. I've never done it this way before.
I'm excited. I've never done this either. Let's do it.
I think it's going to be really cool, actually. Okay, so tell me about the intro. Why should a parent read this book to their kid? And better yet, why should they think about it for themselves as well?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll give a little background on me. You know, growing up in Columbia, South Carolina, I was the first person in my family to go to college. I ended up going to Clemson University, and a lot of my peers had laptops and computers in their homes in those, years getting ready for college. We didn't necessarily have that stuff. When we did have a computer, there was just one. It was dial-up. So I always thought about, how do we make sure that there's access to this information, access to this technology for the youngest generations? And so that was the number one reason, was just making sure that I was sharing it. And then from there, as a dad, it was always really important for me to make sure that my son, who at the time I think was going into first grade, would be able to tell people what dad did for work. You've got all these folks who are, their dad's a salesperson or they're a firefighter. And I was like, I need him to know how to explain blockchain to his buddies. And so that's why we decided to write the book. And so we knew we could cover not only 6-year-olds, but 6 to 60-year-olds is how I like to say it, because I needed to make sure that my mom could also understand it too. So I wanted to cover a broad range, and what makes it better than starting as a children's book.
I think it's amazing. Let's start with this. Okay, I agree with you. Blockchain is the future.
Yes.
Why?
The way I look at it is that it's fundamental. It's a technology that you build on top of, in the same way that we know that the cloud, which was the future at one point in time, is everywhere. Like, we understand that blockchain technology is going to enable a lot of different business applications, a lot of different entertainment applications. And so it's important for us to recognize not only what the technology does, but what the technology can do. And so it's absolutely the future, and it's fundamental.
I know the answer. It's because you're going to use it everywhere.
Exactly. There you go.
I love this. Okay. Nobody knows what blockchain is. Guess what? A lot of grown-ups don't know either.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
I would say 90% of the people that I do business with don't understand it yet.
Even the
I've been
parent.
working on it for 3 years, and it's
Yes.
definitely the future.
Even the grown up who bought you that book may not know what it is, but by the end of it, we will know it all together.
Now, that's because we're going to use it to change the world.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Blockchain is what? It's a new and different way to store and keep data.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I was, I'll have to say it, younger, I would create databases. But my databases was people, real estate transactions. Maybe it's a pipeline report, always on Excel, always unique to me, always my own design. What makes this different?
So for us, I wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity to explain. Let's first talk about databases. As you know, we talk about what databases are in the book, but then it's thinking about how you store things. So when I was coming up with the concepts with this, I talked to my son. I said, well, where do we store our dishes? Our dishes go in the cupboard. Well, where do we store our books? Our books go on the bookshelf. Where do you store your toys? Your toys go in a toy bin. So when you think about data, we're saying where data is stored. And then you think about the future of databases, ultimately, there's a lot of information that our government agencies, our public service entities, some of our favorite businesses need to be able to share with one another, as well as us as consumers and regular folks, so that we can have not only safer information, better information, but also better experiences. And so that database thing is going to be really, really critical. And it's going to be probably, and we'll look back in a couple of years and people will say, oh, that's so obvious. Why is there a children's book on this? And so we're glad that the people who are getting it now are ahead of the curve and are helping us lead that way.
100%. Now, a lot of things that we say that we see in the world are manipulated, and there's deep fakes. I'm using all these terms I barely understand myself.
Yeah.
But the thing about using the blockchain to guard your database, I guess is the way you would say it, is that it's fair and transparent. I love this. This is fabulous. Fair and transparent.
Yes.
So what does that mean? And why do I care?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was just doing a podcast yesterday about artificial intelligence and some of these computer generated images. And it's really, really good these days. And you've got deep fakes, as you talked about, where it's, simulated. And so it says, well, how do we know that this thing is real? How do we know that the information I'm seeing across my screen is honest? And so being able to know what is actually there is going to be something that I think is going to separate us from having some really, really bad things happen in the media and saying like, oh, there's no way that's true, to us being able to say, oh, this is real and we need to act now. And so fair and transparent is really important, not only in business practices and us working together in a relationship that way. When you're talking about information, public safety, we need more fair and we need more transparency, especially as more of this technology takes off.
I agree with you. And remember, when I talked about database, I talked about personally contained databases in my computer and then, stored on the cloud. But
right.
This type of a database, it uses a completely different word. This database is decentralized. What does that mean? Oh, this is fabulous.
So an example that it didn't make it into the book, as I was trying to think about a way to keep it short, is thinking about when I was in college. I took a massive Psych 101 class that had hundreds of people in it. And so you can imagine if you're at the back of the class and the lecturer isn't doing a great job of projecting, you may hear things slightly different. And so in class in the early 2000s, I was writing my notes in one notebook, like literally a Mead notebook.
Right. I have boxes of them I finally threw out 40 years later.
Boxes of them. So Jim, today kids use Google Docs. They use these, like they're on the computer, they're typing all their notes, and they're doing shared Google Docs. So imagine you and 100 classmates are all typing notes in the same doc. I'm writing in blue, you're writing in red, Christina's writing in yellow, and you're able to type all this stuff. And so I say, type, the professor says 17%. And you say, oh no, it was 70%. And Christina says it was 70%. And Michael says it was 70%. Being able to decentralize that information and distribute it, now we're not only able to get consensus and truth. Oh, Harold was wrong. The actual answer was this, but also because it's not stored on my computer, it's stored everywhere else. if my computer dies or crashes or runs out of the battery, we don't lose all the information. That's probably the simplest way to put it. And so having decentralization allows us not only to make more people part of the collaborative process, but also make sure that we safeguard the information.
So that means it never gets deleted.
Yes.
Ever.
I
love this. This is so tremendous. Harold, you're such a good sport.
I appreciate it, man. This is a blast.
Every information database. Oh, so the data is the block.
Yep.
And when you tie it all together, it becomes a chain. I got goosebumps. It becomes a chain.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I can understand it barely, but I can now. And that means that I love this one. All the data is
connected.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I never thought about the thing about the kids doing the notes together. I think that's actually great.
Oh, it's great. It's absolutely great.
So as this is something interesting. So the chain gets longer, more information is stored. It's all public, which makes it nearly impossible for anybody to cheat. And that's really what this is all about. It's about keeping everybody honest in the records and data keeping space.
Absolutely.
Because that's what everything in the future will be built on. Oh my God.
Yes.
It's giving me like moments of consciousness. This is really complicated. So let's talk about how it's being used today by musicians.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah, no, I'm glad, man. It's interesting because you've got so many different applications today, and that's just the beginning. So we wanted to make sure that folks understood, wait, so these things probably could be working behind the scenes for us. And then where can we go there? So as we go into the rest of the book, we talk about, well, what are some other applications that you, the adult or the kid, can grow up thinking through?
Here's the outro. Tell me a little bit about that. This is amazing. This is the...
Yeah. So, I mean, really, I think that the biggest thing that stops a lot of us from learning things is being able to say, I don't understand and I don't know. And so we wanted to give this as the jumping off point. This book is by no means meant to be the end. We hope that people start to search blockchain plus their favorite game or blockchain plus their favorite food and be able to understand how this will be able to impact them in all kinds of different ways. So I'm excited. I'm glad. I even included a little dictionary in the back there.
Yes.
So that's really important to make sure that folks are able to keep up with the words to know. Yeah.
Everything is language. Real estate. I always start at real estate is language. And the person, I want to get you in together with my friends in Vendium. They're the big data company the Vendium. You look them up. They're my friends. They've been on the show. You can go Google do on my search thing in Vendium.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk again. This is a kid's book about blockchain by Harold Hughes. We read it to you today during the show. Harold is tremendous. Harold, I want to have you on everything. You could translate everything I do into child. You're tremendous.
Thank you, man. And that's honestly my superpower. And when I realized it, I said I should start talking more. And so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share. This has been exciting. You'll love this, Jim. I actually made the first edition of these. I'm going to have to get you one of these. The first edition, I actually sold them as NFTs.
Oh my!
So this one's going to be yours. That's why I was going to fly down to Miami and hand it to you.
I can't wait to see you. I'm going to give you a big Miami. We call it a big hug, a big abrazo.
Oh, this way.
That's tremendous. So that is tremendous. I want to thank your son Harold for inspiring you to do this to help other young people.
Yeah, he'll be around here at some point.
Yeah, he gets 2 points. We should have had him on the show. Heck with you. We want to thank Lisa Paley. He can be on next time you're on when you do blockchain for business. Ooh, that's a good one. Blockchain for business people. Same thing. You just changed the front. I want to thank Harold to remind me, but there he is. Hey, how are you, young man? Oh, that's the best part of the show.
So it's time for school, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna go get ready.
What do you think about your dad? How's your dad doing today?
Good.
That's all I wanted to hear. You just made my day. I want to thank. Oh God. Oh my. I want to thank Harold. I want to thank Harold's son for making my entire day. Harold, you're number 2 on my list now. Sorry. I want to remind everybody that Harold is the author of a kid's book about blockchain. You're great, Harold. All right, we're going to be right back. And I wanted to thank, did I mention Lisa Paley? Yeah. Hi, Lisa Paley. We love you. Thank you for putting us together with Harold. So we're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the applications of the blockchain in today's world, and everybody's going to lose it because it touches everybody every day, almost every single minute of the day. Absolutely. Mr. Mendoza, show us Miami. I love that. That's just so wonderful. That's the highway is the blockchain down here. Well, I guess it's just really the chain because the information on it keeps changing every time. This is great. Thank you so much to Harold for really firing me up today on the blockchain. I want to thank our sponsors. This is like episode 730 something. Mr. Mendoza puts it up there somewhere. I want to thank Warren Henry. We've been on for 14 plus years. Warren Henry's been our sponsor for 12 plus. I want to thank Larry, Warren. I was up there this weekend. I got to see Jack. I got to see Ismet, and of course, Maytal Stark, who took care of my car. She takes care of me like family because everybody that goes to Warren Henry gets treated like family. Remember, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, Jaguar, and Lincoln. They're building this gorgeous new Lincoln store up at 151st and Biscayne. Down in the Keys, they sell all the great nameplates. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audi. And, of course, they have their award-winning South Dade Land Rover, Range Rover store. High five and fist bump to Eric Day for all the awards they win. All the cars they sell are great cars, and they come with the Warren Henry Advantage. It's a long list of services. I used that list this weekend when I got my car serviced. I got a loaner. If I had my wheels scraped up, they would have helped me polish them up. If I had lost my keys, they would have replaced them for me. It's just a great experience. Got my loaner car, made my reservation, took them about an hour and a half to service my car. And while I was getting it serviced, I got to see my mom with a real quick little trip up to see her. They'll guarantee you're getting the best price on your new car, on your leased car. They'll give you great value on your trade-in. They'll give you 72 hours to make sure you like your car. The list goes on and on and on. So join me, my beautiful wife, my mom, lots and lots of my clients, more every day. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Freed. I'm the founder of Sandstone Realty Advisors. We're talking about blockchain today. I'm using blockchain to help people syndicate real estate. Reach out to me, DM me, call me. If you're having problems capitalizing your transaction or recapitalizing your transaction, I can help. I'm working with a licensed broker-dealer. We're going to be talking more about that next week when I interview the folks from Oasis Pro Markets, and we talk about our venture, Oasis Pro, and the future of real estate. Make sure to join me. In the meantime, I'm helping families across the country monetize their real estate. I'm helping a family office cash out one of their family members by getting a loan on a shopping center. I'm helping another high net worth investor do a reverse mortgage on their home so they get rid of their mortgage payments and have a wonderful life based on the equity in their home that they can tap. And of course, I'm also helping people creatively finance their real estate development transactions. Reach out to me, DM me. I'm here. My personal brand is I self-actualize by helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. I do that by solving their problems and bringing them peace of mind. And remember, whenever you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Today, our guest, we have one guest. It's my new business partner. It's Pat LaVecchia. Pat.
Hey, Jim.
There he is. There's Pat. He's the CEO of Oasis Pro. Pat, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's a great pleasure to be here, Jim. And I couldn't be more excited about what we're doing together. And it's an honor. So I appreciate the invite.
Team is only as strong as the players, and it's really great to be playing with you, Jillian, Tucker, and the whole team over there. We really have had the most wonderful experience. Our first clients are signing up, and more people are getting involved, and we want to thank you for creating this technology, which we're bringing to the world to help them lower their costs, increase their efficiencies, and potentially bring new investors to their real estate platform. So let's kind of start a little bit with who is Pat, who is Oasis, and what prompted you to do this?
Sure. It's a long journey, but I'll make it short. So my background is investment banking, and I had the opportunity to run a couple of groups at some major firms, Credit Suisse, First Boston, Credit Suisse, which no longer exists. It's part of UBS, and Bear Stearns, which is now part of JP Morgan. But I had a Wall Street career, and I also ran capital markets for First Midwest, which was a subsidiary of First Horizon. And in late 2000s, I had the opportunity to venture off on my own, which I did, and established my own merchant bank, broker-dealer. Really, rather than working on 20 or 30 deals at a time, it gave me the opportunity to really focus and work with teams that I believed in and wanted to build with. And had the opportunity to become CEOs of some of those portfolio companies. So I had that traditional investment banking background, and I added board experience, I added operational experience, and really became much more well-rounded. Now, most importantly, how did I get into the blockchain space? And that was a long journey. So about 5 years ago, maybe a little longer, I took a look into crypto, and I really wasn't a believer in it because, based on my background, economics major, et cetera, it just didn't make much sense to me. But now today I'm a believer in Bitcoin and ETH, and we could talk about that later. But specifically, when I figured out, and it took me some time, that crypto and blockchain tech were two completely different things. Crypto sits on blockchain, and all the benefits that are coming to crypto is due to that underlying technology. That's when the light bulb went off with me. And I started thinking about capital markets, trade finance, basically anything utilizing a ledger, an Excel spreadsheet, something along those lines. That's what the blockchain really brings at its simplest form, an immutable record in terms of the public blockchains. So I had the opportunity to take partner with what's called a large decentralized finance platform called MakerDAO, and had the opportunity to build Oasis Pro. And Oasis Pro's focus is really real world assets into the blockchain sphere, utilizing blockchain as the technology. What we are, in a nutshell, is a Swiss Army knife for large institutions, or for direct to retail. So when I say the Swiss Army knife, think of the largest institutions in the world, and they're all legacy mainframes. We're blockchain, so we're a bridge to that, which only enhances what we're doing with Jim, with your team, in regards to the clients that we have, et cetera, which is broadening the distribution network with these large institutions, because we're building with them, and then we're taking opportunities in regards to capital raising opportunities with some really attractive developers, et cetera, in the real estate field, a whole variety. And then widening that distribution using the traditional Wall Street global finance distribution network. So that's what we're doing at the end of the day. We're simplifying it, and it's just tremendously excited. Now, the other aspect I would just add is this isn't an if, but a when. Right now, if you trade securities, you don't have any idea. Most people don't have any idea what happens after they hit the button. That's exactly what's going to happen with blockchain. You're not going to have to worry about cryptography. You're not going to have to worry about keys. But what it brings with the usage of like a stable coin or a central bank digital currency, I know these names sound, to some of the audience, may sound like, what is he talking about? But just think of them as instruments for trade. And at the end of the day, to your point earlier, there's going to be an opportunity, faster settlement, instantaneous settlement, lower cost, immutable record, which means transparency. And at the end of the day, opportunities that most accredited investors, retail, and even institutions don't have any opportunity to see due to size, due to costs, due to a network, the type of network that you may be in, you may not see these opportunities. The blockchain tech that we've built in conjunction with your relationships, we bring that to the mass audiences.
So there was a great article about a week and 10 days ago now in the Wall Street Journal that all the big wealth management firms were going to start focusing not just on the ultra high net worth and super high net worth, but the high net worth and even now the middle market, because they are creating products to grow themselves. And that's the markets that they've chosen. Is that sort of what we're talking about here, Pat?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a number of wealth management distribution channels, and they are pivoting. They've addressed the large accredited investor market for the most part. It's I believe here in the U.S. it's a $39 trillion, $40 trillion market. Retail is next, and then the other component I would just add to what you mentioned is retirement accounts and the fractionalization opportunity. Right, where the buy-in may be $1 million, having the opportunity utilizing blockchain, and when I say blockchain, meaning smart contracts, again, for the audience, you can ignore all these terms because at the end of the day, you'll have an opportunity to invest $1,000 in what typically was $1 million buy-in through fractionalization of security. That's the opportunity with blockchain. And it's not a heavy lift, but it's a different technology. That's the reason it did, Wall Street or global finance didn't switch over to it so quickly.
So there have been a number of initial movers. We'll call them pioneers. We know what happens usually to a pioneer that have had some run-ins. Maybe they weren't FINRA or SEC compliant. Maybe they got started and got distracted or whatever. What differentiates you from some of the early players in the market? I really don't need to go through any names, but what differentiates you from what we'll call, I can't believe I'm going to use this term, the legacy players in the blockchain capital market space?
So when we initially launched a few years ago, I would say we're like the redheaded stepchild because we kept saying we're regulatory, and we are regulatory and compliance forward. We're right down the middle of the fairway. We actually here in the United States are regulated by FINRA and the SEC. So, and I went through my background earlier. I've always been in a compliant environment, a regulated environment. So it's something I've been accustomed to. And most of my team has been in that environment as well in their previous careers before joining Oasis Pro. So the difference is that even though we weren't there wasn't a lot of excitement about what we were doing a couple of years ago when we really started the tech, getting the tech ready, reaching out to certain members out there because it wasn't, the Wild West. It wasn't the STO market, what you just referred to in regards to those other players. But I had a sense, again, just by my background, that I never saw the regulators go light on anything in my 25 plus year history with Wall Street and global finance. And I bet that was going to continue. And that's exactly what's happened here in the US. There is a regulatory cloud. There seems to be opportunities for maybe a slightly different regulation in regards to what we're doing versus traditional securities, and that's all fine. But at the end of the day, much of the angst that you hear down in Congress, legislators, and the crypto community that we're a part of as well, is that the clear guidance. And our view has always been, well, we think there is clear guidance because we've been doing this for so long in traditional securities, so we just apply that. So that's the primary difference between us and those legacy players is we're playing within the framework that's been in place for a long period of time.
Now, you mentioned the fact that you're based in the United States. but your technology allows you to reach across the world in lightning speed and basically compress the circumstance so that the securities that you're creating, and that's what they are, they're just regular securities. I call it real estate syndication 3.0. They're available now in lightning fashion across the world. How are you able to do that, and who are you doing that with?
So, well, I can't go into details on names, but we're in discussions in a variety of different geographies: India, Korea, the UAE, Europe, and the UK. And the opportunity in regards to taking our tech stack. So what we built is a full end-to-end solutions provider. What we have is it's modular, so it's not one solution for everybody. What we've done is we have solutions that are tailored to specific partners. And we have a tokenization platform. We have a cap table management platform. We have KYC, know your customer, anti-money laundering as a vertical. We have an issuance platform for securities, and we have secondary trading platform. And you're absolutely right. The ultimate goal is a worldwide or global trading environment. That's what blockchain offers. I'll give you an example, which isn't securities, but it just shows the power of the blockchain, which is just sending wallet to wallet, what's called and this is where the cryptography keys come in.
Well, so really what it is it the cryptography is really the security code that keeps it safe, right?
Right. And if you lose it, you could lose your account. Eventually, it's happening now, where you can have a bank account with certain banks, and what they utilize is that cryptographic code, which you'll never know. You just have an account number. So there's safety there. Now with securities, there's even more safety, because if someone steals your securities, there's what's called a transfer agent or cap table management system. Those securities that were stolen, very similar to what happens traditionally, is they're burned or made useless, and new securities are issued. Unlike crypto, these aren't bearer instruments. With securities, your name is tied to that specific security. But back to the global opportunity. So there's this right now, if you want to send funds from the US to Switzerland, that could take up to 2 weeks. Utilizing your bank account, utilizing what's called the SWIFT network, et cetera. And the money's out of your account day one, and it doesn't reach the account in Switzerland up to 2 weeks later, sometimes longer. Today, using this blockchain technology with wallets, et cetera, let's set that aside. But just to describe the speed and the record that we and the low cost that we referred to earlier, you could send $10,000 to someone in Switzerland directly to their account. The fee might be $25, $30, like any wire, and those fees are going way down. But within minutes, those funds will be in that other account. You're not waiting 2 weeks. Now, take that to securities. Zero settlement rather than T+2 or T+10 or 20, which often happens with other structured products, private REITs, a whole host of other different types of security types. What we can do today is take that settlement time down to zero. And that's incredibly exciting at a lower cost.
Well, my team and I, we spent 3 years looking at this space, 2 years working with you and your team to get to the point where we're right at the precipice of bringing our first listing onto your site. We chose to work with you because what I found was that there were all these different technology silos that didn't know how to talk. And when I discovered you and your team, you've brought those silos together and are able to offer them in a concise, well thought out program, because one day I'll call and I'll have a fund manager that wants to start an international fund, and they want to use one certain set of your services. Then I have the next call is with a real estate operating company or developer. They want to use a different suite of your services, but it's all the same quality, and it allows for the ability to scale or broaden what they're doing with you over time. And I do want to just say one thing. I promised I would do this. Last week we teed you up. We discussed this book. So I know what you're giving out for your Christmas gift this year, because it's really sounds really complicated, but it's very simple. It's all things that everybody's done in the past, just a different way. And people go to me, Jim, why is now the time that it's going to be adopted? Some people say, well, it took Bitcoin 8 years, 10 years to get into the mainstream. And I say, no. I say capital was readily available, but now capital is much more clunky in the real estate space. People are willing to look at new ways to do things. And this resonates with just about everybody I've talked to. I'd love you to respond. Then we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to come up with a couple of real life examples.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And, at the end of the day, no one's going to know about this technology. That's when we've hit it. That's when nirvana is, similar to what occurs today. You press a button, you really don't know what happens after that. You just look at your account. And that's what blockchain is going to be. But it's incredibly exciting. We're talking about securities. We're talking about real world assets. But the applicability of this tech isn't solely in this area. Trade finance, letters of credit, et cetera. There is just so much provenance, royalty streams. So you buy a Gucci bag or you buy a Patek watch. How do you know that the provenance is that it's not a fake? Eventually, that's all going to be on the blockchain as well.
100%. It's an incredibly important aspect given the ability for things to be so easily and inexpensively replicated. We're getting close to wrapping, Pat. Is there a bottom line you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank you and the opportunity to be partners. We're just really excited about it, about working with you. This is just, we're in 2023. In 2030, everything that we've done to date and that we're doing right now will be just a tiny microcosm of where the opportunity is. And we're at the forefront, which is really exciting, and being pioneers, but we're not the initial pioneers with the arrows in our backs. We've gone through that. So I think the upside's tremendous. Again, the user interface experience will be no different, and currently is no different in regards to our platform from what any investors are accustomed to in the past. And just again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to join.
My pleasure, Pat. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. We look forward, my team and I, to continuing to partner with you and Tucker and Jillian and the rest of your tremendous people up there. And I want to thank you so much for being a partner. Pat, if you stick with us, we'll do a little kibitz in the green room after I do the wrap, if you don't mind. Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for your partnership. High five to Jillian for putting this together, and for Tucker for keeping on both of us to make it all happen. Mr. Mendoza, time for your magic. I just don't know how he does it. He always ends up showing something that I'm working on at the same time when I'm doing the podcast. So a lot of those buildings, I'm doing deals with that same neighborhood. I want to thank the podcast has been on for 730 something episodes. I can't even remember. We've been on for 14 years. This is our 15th year now. 740. Thank you, Mr. Mendoza. The reality is that Warren Henry's been a sponsor with us for 12 years. I want to thank Eric, Warren, Ismet, Larry, Jack, Gio, the whole team there. I want to thank them all. They're all terrific. Remember, they've got, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, Jaguar, and Lincoln up at 151st and Biscayne. They're building out a gorgeous new showroom for Lincoln up there. They've got their award-winning showroom for Land Rover and Range Rover down at South Dade. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in the Keys, they just added Chevy. They're doing all the different nameplates down there. They're all great cars. They all come with the Warren Henry Advantage, a long list of services, including a free loaner car. They keep your car looking terrific. Like I scratch my rims, they polish them up. I lose my crazy expensive keys, they replace them. They do that and more. They'll make sure you're getting the best value on your trade-in, the best price on your new car or your leased car. They'll give you 3 days to make sure you love your car. You can turn it back to them. Nobody ever does that because they love those cars. So join me, my beautiful wife, Vivian, my mom, lots and lots of my clients and friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Freed. I'm the founder of Sandstone Realty Advisors. We're talking with one of my partners today, Pat and the folks at Oasis Pro. You can see I'm a thought leader. I'm forward thinking, and I've always got the next best thing, and I bring it to my clients. I'm working with lots of debt funds that are helping do the legacy deals, and now we're buying notes and mortgages. So reach out to me, DM me. I can help you capitalize your deal in the traditional or in the futuristic way. They're all going to work. I've been testing them all, and they all are productive. Reach out to me. Let me help you capitalize your deal. Let me help you, address your needs and concerns. My personal brand is that I self-actualize by helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. I do that by solving their problems and bringing them peace of mind. One of the ways we do that is with the blockchain and Oasis. So remember, reach out to me, DM me, email me. Doesn't matter. I'm always here for you. And remember, whenever you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
On to our show, we've got Lindsay Jarvis on. Lindsay is the founder and of BRD Land and Investments. And we've got his partner, Maurice Mo Johnson, who is the man. Maurice is a legend in the home building business. Mo, welcome to the show. He's the CEO of BRD Land. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Lindsay, tell us a little bit about BRD and what problem you guys solve.
We thank you for the opportunity to speak, Jim. We've BRD Land and Investment. We specialize in the creation of, we call them paper lots, like in the land development space. And it's also sometimes called shovel ready. So we will take a neighborhood, we'll engage engineers, surveyors, and all the like, and basically create the design of a neighborhood suitable for one of your national builders, D.R. Horton, NVR, Ryan Homes, to buy that. So we're experienced in it. We've formed ourselves 2018, and we've sold probably, we must be coming right up on about $100 million worth of these shovel-ready neighborhoods at the moment. So that's a little bit about BRDL.
It's a really big issue. I know these home builders need places to build. You're buying these basically in the path of growth. Mo, tell me a little bit about what you look for in a transaction. You're the deal guy on the ground. What makes a deal special for you?
Oh, awesome. Definitely. Thank you. Again, thank you for having us, Jim. What makes a deal special for me? Number one, it's location. That'll never change, never stop. And the beauty of, as you mentioned, the smile markets, Florida, Carolinas, Georgia, Texas, and the like, those are all just generally states people want to be in. I think recent trends, if you look at some of the U-Haul statistics in terms of where people are going, people want to move down here, and it was magnified during the pandemic. So we look for that. We look for services. We look for lifestyle services. We look for the ability to get entitlements. That's really important. It's one of the reasons why the supply-demand equation is just so significantly weighted the wrong way. And then then the next thing we do is we try to figure out, we need to know what our builders want, our customers want, and we try to go and deliver projects that really align with their strategy and long-term goals.
So what are the economics underpinning this opportunity?
The economics are the supply and demand that I mentioned before. This country is in a significant supply shortfall when it comes to rooftop housing. And that is all predicated on a lot of the things that have happened over the course of the last, call it 2 decades, with respect to the big Great Recession, the downturn. You fast forward, the country is starting to kind of crawl its way out, and then you have the pandemic, which changed things significantly. And then you add the interest rate increases that have been happening over the last year or so, and it continues to kind of delay the fulfilling of some of that demand with the supply perspective. So that's exactly what's going on. So
in order to take advantage of this, I'd want to work with somebody who's got a tremendous track record. Lindsay, tell me a little bit about your track record. And I know Mo has an incredible track record that he brings to the table too.
Yeah, Jim, we've over the last 3 or 4 years, we're coming right up on $100 million worth of shovel-ready lot sales to your national builders. Our clients and buyers in our market at the moment include D.R. Horton, NVR, Ryan Homes, H&H. They were formerly and now Dream Finders, Mattamy Home Builders, Meritage, American Homes for Rent, Stanley Martin. So we're very, very well known amongst your national and regional builders, and I'd say well respected. And so if we contact your local builders and say we've got a development ready, they take that offer very, very seriously. So we've got a good track record. We think that's valuable for any investor to see. So
now, Lindsay, your pipeline, you get deals, people call you. How do you select the deals you're working on, and how many paper lots do you have in your pipeline right now?
Well, Mo and I were actually chatting about that before, but I think it's not less than 30,000 lots at the moment. Mo, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And that gives us a forward revenue pipeline, like dollars. If we use fair market value for what's under contract at the moment, we're probably 800 million, 900 million of forward land positions. Would that be fair, Mo? Do you think?
Very fair.
Yeah.
So the opportunity today is for people to join you on the platform and co-invest with you and take advantage of this opportunity for you to develop these properties with these investors and then sell them to people like
D.R. Horton. So your national builders. So yeah, and I think we should expand a little bit on that, Jim, and say that the investment is through the Rockstar Capital Group, which is one of our most trusted affiliates, and they're extremely important part of the operating capital that we use for the pursuit costs of getting these land positions entitled and fully shovel ready. So that's the platform, and the way to enter the market with us is via that. So
your funding model is basically what?
Well, we've got. I mean, Mo, do you want to answer that one for us?
I'm sorry, I lost it.
What's the funding model that you use, Mo, to acquire these? You raise money from a variety of different sources, from institutions to individuals, and then you deploy them into these contracts where you already have buyers. Seems to me like you're mitigating a lot of the risk here.
That's right. Yes, we definitely do. I'm sorry, I had some connection issues or something. So
it's okay. I'm disconnected with everybody all the time. It's just my thing.
It's just what happens every now and then. We probably got too many. Probably got too much streaming, some YouTube watching, and there are other parts of my house. You can see
Gremlins.
But yeah, so exactly. I mean, what we're offering from an investment perspective, number one, our team, and we'll talk about it a little bit, is a bunch of experienced land and home building professionals. We know how to identify good dirt and good projects. So number one, we're not taking on and looking at projects that we don't feel will sell to several different buyers, not just one. Number two, the way we structure our contracts, we do it where we're trying to keep our sellers in the game along the way, so there's not a lot of sunk costs when it comes to the projects. And so number three, if we did get to a position where we needed to close on the property, we'd have a builder in tow to mitigate some of those risks as well, on top of all of the locational things that I spoke to as well. That's why it makes so much sense from an investor perspective, how compelling it is. We're not asking you to invest in land. We're asking you to invest in the deals that we have that are pre-sold, as we talked about before, or projects that we know align with several different builders, which equates to multiple exit strategies.
So what role does Rockstar play in your structuring? Lindsay?
Rockstar is the platform that allows investors to get access to our operating capital needs. So the land entitlement and permitting business, I'll say it's not very cheap. So to give you an example, if we've got 20,000 lots, it costs at least $2,000 a lot to get it entitled and shovel ready. So that's $40 million in operating capital as a minimum, and we're conservatively sitting at 30,000 lots at the moment, so I'll let you do the math on that. So Rockstar Capital is one of the, as I say, one of the platforms where investors, small and large, institutional, can get access to share the upside that we're seeing in this industry, and we're happy for that opportunity to be available to everybody. So
now, Lindsay, tell me a little bit about your expansion plans. Right now, we know there's a lot of need for homes. We know that there's a disconnect. We know that most people can't buy a home from somebody that already lives in them, so they're looking to buy new from home builders usually. So tell me a little bit about your plan 1, 3, 5 years out.
Well, that's something, I mean, we're very, very pleased to have Mo on board with us now as our CEO to help us to realize this vision. But as I say, we're sitting at around about 30,000 lots at the moment. Our goal was to the end of 23, which is in a few weeks' time, is to be somewhere near 50,000. We'll see if we get there. By the end of 24, we want to be at 100,000 lots that we own or control. Preferably control, not own. And our goal is in 5 years to see if we can be the #1 supplier of paper lots in the entire southeast of the United States. Probably a wider chunk of market than that, or bigger footprint. But we've set a goal to be, to try and crack $1 billion worth of revenues in one financial year by the year end of, what would they be, 2028. So.
Well, I just wrote down a family that I know that owns tens of thousands of lots in the I-4 belt, if you will. So I got a feeling Mo is going to be talking to my friend in the next few days. Now, let's talk about what the most important thing is in executing the business that you just described. That's the people. Can you tell me a little bit about your team, Lindsay? And you can be nice to Mo. He's here with us now.
Well, I mean, as I've always said, you are investing in a business. Of course, you can write down what is our core operation, what do we do, but the reality is you're actually investing in people. So I've been very, very privileged, if you like, and fortunate to have met some of the smartest people I've ever come across in my life to help us form and develop this business, including Mo. They joined us recently. He's got a spectacular resume, and the talent that sits behind Mo. And we've got Tim Samuels, our other partner, is obviously Mo's a partner. Tim's just 20-year veteran or more in this industry. I think he's probably.
How about my friend Jack? Shout out to Jack.
That's right.
Yeah, we've got our development team. I mean, Tim Samuels, our other partner, founding partner, is
he's tremendous. I love doing business with Tim.
He had 20 years with NVR Ryan Homes in charge of their acquisition, so that's an extremely high level of experience and connections in the market. And then the underpinning this whole operation, which Mo heads up for us, are all of our IDCs. We call them our independent development consultants, and they're a mix of division presidents, engineers, and some of the most talented people that I've ever seen. And all they do is they live and breathe taking land through entitlements, managing the engineers and the surveys, and taking that project right to the finish line, getting it shovel ready. If you don't have those guys, and they're not under someone like Mo's watchful eye and how you manage this whole process, then we don't get to the finish line. So yeah, there's a reason why our operation's as big as it is, and there's a reason why it can go where we say it can go over the next 2, 3, or 5 years. It's all the people. So
it sounds to me, you buy what you call paper lots. Florida is, I'm using Florida as just an example. I'm translating it into my own personal knowledge. Florida's full of agricultural land that's perhaps not as productive. Georgia, we saw what happened to the peaches. Florida, we saw what happened to the oranges. Those plants grow on high, dry land. So I got to figure the land they grow on is perfect for building homes. Mo, how do you go find these off-market deals that I got to believe really drive your profits?
Oh yeah, definitely. They do. The off-market deals is really our specialty. Number one, it starts with relationships. You got to have relationships. In order to have relationships, you got to have good people, right? You got to have people that people know, that people want to pick the phone up and call. So we're really, really making a point to be top of mind to not just to brokers, to be top of mind for engineers, land use attorneys, so on and so forth, and get out there. And you got to have a reputation. Right, you got to have a reputation for executing and performing on the deals, and so we definitely have that, and we're proud of that fact. And then I think the last thing is you got to know where the puck is going. You got to spend a lot of time looking forward in opinion, in assessing the market, assessing what the builders think, assessing what just underlying home buyers need and want, and looking at things with the end in mind. And so that's really what we try to do in everything we do in terms of going out and trying to source and procure these deals that are diamonds in the rough.
I love the Wayne Gretzky analogy. Our friends from Canada, all those new buyers coming down from Canada are going to love that. So it sounds to me like you're working with Rockstar. You're mitigating your risk by working with typically pre-sold dirt. The problem you're solving is the problem of not enough lots to be built so that you can help people live the American dream. How did I do, Mr. Jarvis?
You can take my job anytime you like, Jim.
I want to thank you both for joining me today. I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry for being sponsors. I want to thank Larry, Eric, Ismet, Maytal, Gio, Jack, the whole team over at Warren Henry for making my whole family feel tremendous. I want to thank them for sponsoring our show for the last 12 years. I want to thank, since the beginning, the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies has been a sponsor. As everybody knows, we drop a brand new version of the podcast every Wednesday at noon. I want to thank Mo and Lindsay for being on with me today and being on the podcast. Of course, if you want more information on what they're doing, reach out to me, DM me. We'll be on again next week at noon. Why? Because I absolutely love doing this, if you couldn't tell already. Remember, this is Jim Freed. I want to remind everybody that the person that wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. I got two doers here on the show with me today. So everybody go out there and make it happen. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Mr. Mendoza, the rest of the show is yours.